Good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Yeah. Oh shit, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition. We just turned the field into a demolition. It was desolate.
Good morning. Welcome to the eCarrierCheck show. We got Jared and Nate here. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. But boy, it's a weird week this week.
Lots going on.
We're going to talk through that. We're actually going to talk through some carriers and some Drayage Carriers today. I know with the strike going on, that's it's affecting their lives down there at the ports, and I'm excited to at least just talk, see what they're going through.
Yeah.
How are they getting through this? And obviously, we got some good facts here that we're going to talk through on how this is affecting, the U.S.
Yeah,
things like that, right? But Jared, like I said, I know it's been a weird week, man. What are you? I know you talked with some brokers this week.
Yeah.
What are you hearing from them? How's the week been so far?
I think this is kind of an interesting week, and I think these are those weeks, and I would say it's probably going to be like this until November 7th, right? Joey, what's up, brother? It's good to see you on. Tell us about your day, man. What do you do? Are you a broker, carrier? Where are you out of? Love to know more about you, but this is one of those weeks. Like, let's just we're on the countdown till the election, right? November 7th. So we're literally 5 weeks away. It is going to be, in my opinion, mass chaos for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's important for you to just, Ryan, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? George, what's going on? You guys are in the house. I love that. T. Harris is here.
So good.
These are the weeks where you have to control your mental health. You have got to focus on what you can control. You've got to focus on those calls and educating your clients. Joey says, hey, excited to learn. So are your clients. You know what I mean? They want to know what grinding on some cold calls. I love that. If you haven't watched our newest video, we did one out there, running out of toilet paper and towels down here. I bet, man. Oh, yeah. I mean, that whole area, I'm just praying for some people, man. This is rough.
And people are buying stuff like crazy off the shelves when I've seen. So I can imagine you're running out of toilet paper.
Man, I tell you what. Well, what a mess. Just go get some water and toilet paper. I guess that's all you need in life.
Yeah. I'm not here.
I'm not here. Tire Killer, what's going on, man? How are you? Where are you out of? Hopefully your truck's doing good. We got George Gomez, Cold Collins, the only cure. I would agree. I totally agree, man. You guys got to watch that new video we just dropped. It was very entertaining. We just did one for Dennis Brown. Shout out to Dennis if he's watching. Really enjoy that guy. He's always you want to learn something, boy howdy, there's the guy.
Yeah, he's got a very interesting class. He does it different than a lot of other coaches or trainers, if you will. Very hands-on. You get to see his method, which I love.
Well, I did too.
What worked for you?
Yeah.
Here you go. Let's do it. Let's just get down to it. So
because what works for me and what works for George and Joey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Besides the toilet paper situation, in the cold call space, control what you can control and don't sweat all this craziness because between the hurricane, between the strike, which we're going to call a carrier, talk a little bit more about that today. But then you got the Israeli thing and the bombs. Right. And there's some crazy stuff going on. You just got to control what you can control. You can't get caught up in whining on this craziness here, in my opinion.
A lot going on. Yeah. A lot going on for sure. So talk me through some of the things you're hearing from those brokers. Or I know we talked with a few carriers yesterday, but tell me what you're kind of hearing. How is this affecting brokerages and maybe some carriers directly with this strike going on?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked to a couple different brokers yesterday that specifically just do dray work, right? This is all they do. They do intermodal. They're in and out of the ports all day. And as far as the actual strike itself, obviously it's 45,000 people that are on strike right now, but there's got to be twice, if not three times the amount of those people that, the drivers that are out and about that work, in the ports, right? They're not a part of the union, right? The brokers that we spoke to, these cats, these guys and gals, they're not a part of that union, right? But they're just out of business at the moment, depending on how long this strike is. Right now, I know a couple gals that do just all they do is dray work as brokers. And, they mentioned yesterday on LinkedIn and a couple of their posts, they're focusing on some processes internally, getting billing cleaned up, and just kind of taking the moment, because who knows how long this strike lasts. It could last, it could be done today, right? It could be done in 2 weeks. Who knows? But right now they're focusing on internal processes as brokers. Now, carriers, this has been interesting. We talked to a couple of different carriers yesterday. We're going to call another one, see if he answers. The carriers that we've spoke to are kind of doing the same thing. Let's work on our trucks. Let's work on our trailers. Let's get some stuff done that we didn't have time to get done as we grinded through the normal day to day. You know what I mean?
Do you think that this is going to maybe open some people's eyes as far as, maybe we need to start dabbling into flatbeds or, driving reefer work, because we're just doing intermodal and stuff like this happens, this puts us out for however long it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
So you think people will start maybe seeing some more, or do you think you'll start seeing some more people, diversify their business?
It's such an interesting question. People get comfortable with what they know.
Right.
Being open in the spot market and going from dray work to, I'm going to put a flatbed on the road is a whole nother kettle of fish. Now, here's something I do believe in. Anybody's business, it doesn't matter if you're a carrier, you're a broker, dispatcher, you should always diversify your business, right? For moments like this, if 100% of your business is from dray work, intermodal work, you're sitting around today, right?
Doing payroll,
or exactly, or you're trying to clean up trucks, or you wash trucks, or let's do all our mid services, or whatever it may be. Definitely time to pivot into something symbiotic. I don't necessarily mind. The ports are never really going to go away. I mean, what they're asking for is, I don't know about you guys, but can you imagine, they asked, this is going on in 36 ports, by the way. So you've got to think there's hundreds of thousands of employees or brokers or carriers or drivers that are affected by this, not just the 45,000.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They're asking for a 77% pay increase over 6 years. Now, I get it. Pay increases are nice for everybody. Hell, I mean, I'd love a 77% pay increase. That's incredible.
But they're also afraid of automation, right?
Yeah. That's probably, the little caveat here. That's probably the more interesting thing is they're firmly opposes technology that replaces human labor, proposes on ban on AI, robotics, and automation. Boy, man, that's a rough one to get around. The pay increase is the pay increase, right? But automation is just the future. Can you imagine? Have you looked at like some of these? I watched a video on a port place out in China. I mean, literally, they have friggin' driverless trucks that are going up, and they friggin' not that we need to get rid of the human aspect of anything, right? But I'm sure there's some automations that'll help with safety, that'll help with those things like that. So in my mind, if safety is the number one, right, then we need to focus on putting processes in place or different things like that that'll allow us to. Sorry, my phone's been going off here. Allow us to make sure humans are safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't we don't need people to not be safe.
Right. I hope safety be the number one. Top of the list anyways, but yeah, absolutely.
I'd be interested. George, do you have any business in the ports, or anybody for that matter? Anybody have any business in the ports that you guys are dealing with? I did think this was kind of interesting too. Jason Miller, he's kind of the leading expert in supply chains. He's the professor at Michigan State, said, hey, if the ports strike sees a quick resolution within this week, right, disruptions won't be. They'll be relatively limited. In contrast, if the strike exceeds 2 weeks, we'll begin seeing more systematic knock-on effects. And I think, it's kind of where Joey's at. It's kind of this weird perfect storm. We just had this huge friggin' hurricane come through and devastate our country. 150 people's lives have lost, right? And people are running to go get water, right? And then all of a sudden you got these port strikes. They're saying bananas will take a big hit.
Cherries.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Very little. I picked up 510X from San Pedro and Elizabeth in New Jersey. Yeah. it's just an interesting business. There's obviously some industry experts that are out there that do this all day when they're brokering.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to a lot of carriers and brokers. It looks like nobody really does much port stuff, but I hope that they get this thing done. The one thing that I did think was interesting, obviously, you wonder if, does the government get involved? There's this thing that they can do. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but, they asked, is President Biden going to do anything? Here's what the Teamsters said, by the way, in a press release. They said, they said the Teamsters showed solidarity with the ILA, addressed Biden in a press release where they told them to stay the F out of this fight.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen that video of the guy that runs the Longshoremen Union, this guy's incredible, man. I would love to get him on the show. If anyone knows him, have him call us. Let's have a conversation. It'd be wild. I have an asparagus client. He's charging $1 per pound because he has to fly it in now.
Wow.
That's wild. By the way, I love asparagus.
I do too. Bacon wrapped.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I got to tell you, when I lived in San Diego, this is so random.
Good morning.
I'm going to tell you the story. We used to go down to this little Indian place, and it was just this. It was just a couple that ran this place. She did the cooking, and he kind of ran the front of house. But they had this dessert thing that they would bring out instead of bread. Like you go to a restaurant, they bring you bread and butter, and you just kind of, they would bring you dehydrated asparagus sticks that were garlic flavored.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. And they would limit you to I think it was 12 sticks or something like that. I can't imagine if he's even doing that now. If it's $1 a pound, that's wild. Chief Freight Hauler, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? Where are you at? How's this weather treating you? Are you still down south? Did you get home to cut up your trees? Oh my gosh. I can't get enough of that guy too. We should have him on. I would love that. Damn, Jared. Has lived everywhere in the U.S. Yeah, I have actually. I've kind of gone all over the place. San Diego was truly one of my favorites. But it was you paid to live there, man. It was expensive, and either way, I loved asparagus. Yeah. Anytime you get a friggin' you give me dehydrated asparagus sticks, and I'm gonna go nuts. I don't know.
I love it, man.
Either way,
yeah.
I figured let's call this.
Let's do it. We got about 20 people in here. Let's call some Drayage Carriers.
Yeah.
The guy we chatted with yesterday, super nice guy, super open about what's going on. Let's see, at the house cutting up trees. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. How much friggin' chain lube are you going through? You know what I mean? God bless it. It's got to be ridiculous.
I don't know if you got kids, but hopefully you got some kids maybe to help you out, or some good neighbors,
or an ATV or something, something to help move around. 75.
Holy cow!
That's a mess. It's a lot of firewood. Stack it up. Not close to the house, of course, because then you get critters in it and all kinds of stuff. All right, let's call Mike. See what happens here. I'm assuming they can hear this.
Yeah.
We should just hide next to the mic here.
Yeah, it was Mike. Can I help you?
Hey, Mike, this is Jared over at eCarrierCheck. How's it going this morning, man?
Okay, sound pretty good. What can I do for you?
Well, I just wanted to chat with you on the port strikes and see what you're up to on day 2.
Well, we're sitting here staring at the screen waiting for something to happen.
Have you gone down to the picket line, or have you? Yesterday there was some kind of drastic video of a garbage truck guy that got it sounded like he got cut and was bleeding and ended up getting interviewed. Now they make it sound more drastic on TV than maybe what's real, but have you gone to the picket line to see what it's like?
No, we're quite a ways from the port, so at our main office. But it could get rough down there, I would assume, and they're gonna attack the wrong people, of course.
That's fair.
It's not the truckers. It's not the truckers that are causing the issue,
Yeah, exactly.
But I've heard a couple of things about them going after drivers. They're going after trucks and slashing tires. And I don't know if any of that's true, but I wouldn't doubt it. People get a little confused during these times.
Yeah, that's nuts. Have you heard if there's been any budgets or meetings? Do they meet daily during strikes like this, or do you know?
They haven't met since June, so the way I understand it, and they're probably not. And I don't know if there's any back and forth right now. We did get something from we deal with Port of Savannah. Port of Savannah sent out an email saying that they're not part of the New Jersey negotiations. So I guess maybe they're doing their own, or there's different little factions within this strike. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but hopefully Savannah's doing something. I'm sure they're trying, because their people are just standing around too. Everybody's standing around, and everybody's losing money every day.
Yeah, exactly. Are you? What's a day like in the port, Mike? Like, I mean, what you send all your guys up there, you go grab containers. What's a typical day like in the port?
It's a busy port. I mean, Port of Savannah, they've grown quite a bit, and the drivers. But generally, my drivers all go in there one time a day. So they go in, they drop an empty, pick up a full container, and then make their delivery. And they do one delivery a day. We usually run 90% of our business goes from Savannah to Atlanta. So, and then we got a couple local guys that do some extra work in the port during the day, but mostly it's just one day in, one trip per day into the port.
No kidding. Hey, one of the biggest hangups on this deal is they're trying to get away from automation, if you will. Do you see that in the port? I mean, are you seeing that it's all human driven, or there's no robots, or I mean, what's the automation that you've heard of that they're trying to get away from, I guess?
Well, I would guess mostly it has to do with like the gate operators. Like, there are some ports that have automatic gates where you don't see a person at all. But at like Port of Savannah, they're all run by people. So, and all the equipment is all run by people. There's no robots on Port of Savannah. All the cranes people are operated, but they're, obviously with technology, I mean, they can drive a car down the highway. I'm pretty sure that they can get a container moved from one place in the port to another with a robot. So, but robots even require people. I mean, somebody's got to program that thing. Somebody's got to make sure it's running. Somebody's got to fix it. So for them to say that that they don't need that you get automated, you don't need people, is that's just not true.
Yeah.
But they're all worried about differences. It's a different level of expertise required in order to running a piece of equipment. Probably takes an hour to learn. Maintaining and fixing and doing all the programming on one. That could require years of experience. So it's a different level of, and it seems like they would rather have a more technical people, but technical people generally aren't in unions. So that's why they don't want to do it.
That's fair. How many ships are coming in and out of Savannah? Do you know, or as far as like level of volume coming out of that port, is it one of the larger ports?
Oh yeah, it's significant. Yeah, they probably do. I would think somewhere between 3 and 4 boats a day. So depending on the boat, there's really big boats and there's smaller boats, but they're doing thousands of TEUs a day. So it's a heavy volume. We do our little part, but there's thousands of trucks in and out of there every day.
That's wild. That's crazy. What's just for the sake of it, you might have to educate me. What's a TEU?
What's that stand for? A TEU is basically a 20-foot container.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good to know.
I don't remember. I don't know what TEU stands for, but that's what it is. It's a 20-foot container. What is it? 20 equivalent unit.
Okay. All right.
So the TEUs, that's how they count everything at the ports. But and 20s, and most of everything comes in 40s. So when they say a TEU, there's really 2 TEUs per 40-foot container.
That's wild. So what are your drivers doing yesterday and today? What do you have them doing? Are they servicing their trucks? Are they, cleaning things, or what are they up to?
Oh, they're probably watching news, sitting on the couch, eating bonbons today. There's just nothing to do. I mean, these guys maintain their equipment all the time. I'm sure that some of them are going to get out there and wash their trucks and clean them and do that kind of stuff, but that's on them. All my guys are owner operators, so they're not company drivers. So they really maintain their own equipment all the time. But they're not driving. That's for sure. The wheels aren't turning, and nobody's making any money.
And have you thought about, trying to find anything on, with local clients at all, power only stuff, or have you thought about doing any of that, or just kind of said, let's see where this sits for the next couple of days, or?
Yeah, well, there's, you're talking about 40,000 trucks or something like that on the East Coast that are looking for work. I'm pretty sure the OTR guys are going to hate this too, because it's just going to drive the rates down, because now people are going to be out there running for nothing, just to be able to get a paycheck, I guess. So, and a lot of people are going to get hurt. OTR rates were already pretty suppressed and not very profitable. And this is just going to make it worse for them while these guys are all out there just picking up all their loads, And I'm not gonna go through the trouble of trying to find a bunch of work that doesn't pay any money.
That's fair.
We're just gonna wait.
What?
And hopefully it's only another week or so. But you never know with these guys. I mean, they've had long strikes before.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what happens at week 2 or week 6? I mean, you just kind of hang out, and what are your thoughts? If it gets really long, have you had any thoughts of what to do at that point?
No, not yet, but I'm pretty sure, as far as the company goes, we have expenses, some of them, like insurance, which doesn't stop, and rental fees don't stop, yard fees, all that stuff. But, the longer it goes, the more of those that we'll just start canceling, and just to reduce our fixed cost during this time. But getting fired back up afterwards, is the challenge. So you really don't want to do too much of that. You want to monkey around with the system too much until you have to. But,
right.
I would think if it goes more than a couple of weeks, a lot of that's going to start happening.
Whew. Yeah, I would. Yeah, you're right.
But, the big thing is, Uncle Joe needs to, go get this thing settled. But he doesn't seem very motivated to do anything. So.
Yeah, I saw the Teamsters released a press statement telling him to stay the F out of this fight. So
he's going to do what they tell him to do. That's for sure.
Man, this will be an interesting couple weeks. Well, Mike, man, I appreciated the talk. It's always nice it's nice to get educated from somebody right there in that area. And I wish you the best with your business, and hopefully everybody's safe there as they continue to try to clean up that little area of the country which just got devastated. So, anybody up in that area, or anybody that's trying to do anything for that North Carolina situation?
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, it's all around us. It's south of us and north of us, but we got lucky. But they got devastated, obviously, and it's just going to take a long time to clean it all up. And there's, I don't know what to make of all that. That's just, it is. Disasters happen. Just got to survive them.
Yeah,
that's all there's to it.
Last question. What do you think? What's your guess? How long will this last?
I think it's going to be sometime next week. They'll figure this thing out.
That's fair. I would agree. They'll get this thing done. I
don't think they're that far apart, really. It's just gotta. That's not the money. I think it's the automation that's the big kicker. Unions don't really care about their labor. They really just care about making sure that they still have people in the union. So
that's a fair statement. All right, man. Well, I hope you have an awesome day. And I wish you the best with your business, and we'll talk later.
All right. Thank you.
See you. And that guy was real deal, Holyfield.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. Thanks for talking with that guy. That was
I enjoyed the conversation. I don't know what everyone thought here, but you know, you just hope that if they're not that far away, man, like let's there's, like he said, I mean, there's thousands of people here that need some work.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If this thing goes on for a while, like he said, they're going to start canceling stuff.
Yeah, start, cutting back on costs. And
Ryan said, love the inside.
Yeah.
It was good. It was great to have that. So to give you an idea, I think that cat said he had 11 drivers, 10 drivers. We talked to him yesterday just to kind of give him a heads up. But a really interesting guy.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Do you know the drayage work in those ports? It's just a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked a really good question on what was like TEU.
Yeah.
For like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't either.
So
I
it's
just
really
wanted to get an
really nice to kind of pick his head and kind of see what his world is like. And it's unfortunate that he said he's staring at a screen. And
yeah,
I'm sure, like you said, 45,000 other carriers are also looking for work now, and they're going to probably move in freight for nothing.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone has freight, George especially, or anybody that's in there. It is 1,000% about the automation. Totally is. It would be really interesting to know, are the rates, cheap freight, well, he's cutting trees down. This doesn't count. Do you know, Joe, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? It's good to have you on. I would be interested to know, are the rates from the East Coast right now just dropping? I don't know if you remember this, but holy buckets. Because I was kind of in the midst of brokering through the big C word, which YouTube doesn't like us using, but
pandemic.
Pandemic, whatever you want to call it. But man, the rates literally, I remember this. It was like all of a sudden we were trucking along, and then the rates just dove straight to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And I was moving stuff for absolutely nothing. It was the craziest thing ever. Denver rates, because we were Midwest, Denver rates went from like $1.10 a mile to like 76 a mile. Like 76 cents a mile. Like it was the craziest thing. If you ever go out of Denver, you're going to pay for it. You don't get paid well. So hopefully you get $4 in, right? But it was the craziest thing. And then all of a sudden we saw a spike and boo, it went through the roof. So it'd be interesting to know, are we seeing that yo-yo effect right now on the East Coast? Tyler Keller says we're looking for over the road and company drivers. See, I love that. This is, honestly, that right here is like those cats that are out there. Put your company name in there, Tire Killer, if you can. We're not afraid to shout you out. He's one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. But Salt Lake right now for drive-in are $1 a mile. Salt Lake rates right now for drive-in are $1 a mile. Ouch. Anything East Coast, you know what I mean? Anything East Coast that you know about, George?
Midwest only. Okay.
But Midwest only. That's fair. Boy, I tell you what, though, how long do you sit as an owner-operator and go, well, we're not going to go back, or we are? For me, how long would you sit? If we went on strike, how long would you sit before you decided to go get another job?
Gosh, I mean, obviously you're looking at your financial situation too, thinking, okay, if I held on, how long can I hold on for? So I'm looking at that, but I don't know, man. No more than 2 weeks, you know what I mean? Like
right.
2 weeks without making money, like
all of a sudden it kind of gets a little bit different.
Yeah. I start getting gray hairs. I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? Like, you go look for work, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about those brokers too that are maybe bidding on a freight. How does this mess with bidding? It's like maybe start calling carriers and start figuring out what can you run for? But like, how does that change people bidding on load boards at all?
That's such
or not load boards, but bid boards.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta stand up. My shorts are creeping up here. But I'm doing a reefer on the East Coast, $2 a mile, but everyone's busy, very tough to get drivers.
Okay.
See, that's interesting. I think here soon, like you said, I think that Checker Transportation, check them out. They're looking for over the road guys and company drivers. I love that. I think you see it 2 weeks, all of a sudden a little bit of panic in my mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think you see companies like this where they aren't working. They start losing drivers to companies like Tire Killers, where they're like, well, they've got freight, I'm going to go drive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Drivers aren't afraid to be on the road. You know what I mean? So there'll be a threshold here. If we get to it, I don't know. Right.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Well, that call went, a little longer than I expected. So I think that was perfect. I mean, some of the carriers that we called yesterday, they're giving us that same feedback, man. It's like, we're just kind of sitting here, taking care of the equipment, doing what we can, hoping that it's doesn't last as long as people are thinking.
Yeah.
So hopefully, they get the strike kind of settled. People go back to normal.
And away we go.
To normal life.
Exactly.
I just hate to see people kind of sitting there not making money and stressing, right? It's a sad thing to see.
Yeah, control the controllables right now. That's all you can do.
Hoping no companies maybe go out within the strike. I'm praying that doesn't happen, but yeah, shitty to see.
No. Nate, I've enjoyed the show today. I love the conversation. We appreciate the community. You guys are what makes us do this every week. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week. We're going to take Friday off because Nate's doing a little vacay. But we'll see you guys next week.